Every single time you share an email or upload a photo, or heck, even just make a payment online, your personal data is zipping across these invisible digital highways. It's happening constantly, right from the phone in your hand.
So it begs a really important question, right? In this huge, vast digital world, who's actually protecting that data? Who's the guardian at the gate? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore today. Because the fundamental principle, the big idea we're starting with is this: your data is your right. It's a simple thought, but it's incredibly powerful. And this idea? It's the foundation for a whole new era of data privacy in India. Okay, let's dive right in.
All right, so here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with your data and your rights. Then we'll get into what exactly the DPDP Act is, what new digital powers you have, the link between privacy and cybersecurity, and finally, what this all means for building India's digital future.
First up, your data, your rights. For a long time, the default was kind of that our data was just a commodity for companies to use. But that's all changing, and this section is about that fundamental shift in thinking.
So the big question is, how is this new principle actually being put into action? Well, that brings us to the DPDP Act. You can think of it as India's brand new rulebook for our digital world.
So let's get into the specifics. Formally, it's the Digital Personal Data Protection Act of 2023. And this is a big deal. It's India's first ever comprehensive law on data privacy. Its entire job is to govern the whole life cycle of your personal data, from how it's collected to how it's used and even how it's stored.
And get this, the reach of this act is huge. It's global. It doesn't just apply to companies based in India. Oh no, it covers any international firm that processes the data of Indian citizens. It's like this protective digital umbrella for Indians' data, and it doesn't matter where in the world that data is being handled. Okay, this brings us to what's probably the most important part for you, personally, understanding your new digital powers. Let's break down the key roles and the new rights you now have.
The Act makes things pretty simple by breaking it down into two main roles. First, you've got the data principal, and yep, that's you, the individual. On the other side, you have the data fiduciary. Just think of them as a data guardian, the organization that's responsible for handling your data securely and ethically. It's a really clear, powerful distinction.
And this is where you can really see the new power you hold. As a data principal, you now have the crystal clear right to access your own data, the right to correct it or even have it erased, and, this is the big one, the right to withdraw your consent anytime. So what this all boils down to is that you are back in control. I mean, those days of confusing, buried terms and conditions, their days are numbered. Now companies have to ask you for clear and informed consent before they can do anything with your information. The power has definitely shifted. Okay, but having rights over your data, that's really only half the battle. This brings us to the relationship between privacy and cybersecurity, which, as you'll see, are pretty much two sides of the same coin. So think of it like this. Data privacy is all about your rights over your data, what can be done with it. Cybersecurity, on the other hand, is the actual practice of keeping that data safe. It's the digital shield that protects you from hackers, identity theft, and those massive data breaches we hear about. You really can't have one without the other. And you can really see a clear evolution here. India's old IT Act from back in 2000, well, it was mostly reactive. It focused on penalties after a cybercrime already happened. The DPDP Act, it's a major shift. It adds this crucial proactive layer. The focus is now on accountability to prevent breaches from ever happening in the first place. All right, so let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. Because this isn't just about individual rights, it's about building a digital future and why this new framework is so important for the entire country. And the ambition here is, well, it's massive. The goal is to position India as a global leader in responsible data governance. It's all about creating a framework that's trusted not just at home, but all around the world. And look, as we move deeper and deeper into an AI-driven future, this foundation becomes absolutely critical. I mean, protecting personal data is what's going to build trust between us, the users, and technology. And that trust, that's the secret sauce that fosters innovation, which, in turn, drives real sustainable economic growth in our digital economy. So the takeaway here is pretty clear. Your data is your digital identity, and it's absolutely worth protecting. This new law gives you the tools, but your own awareness, that's your best defense.
So stay smart and stay secure.
Look, this new act is a monumental step forward. It's like we're building a fortress around our personal data. But it leaves us with one final thought to chew on. With all these new rules and rights in place, is our digital future finally secure?